Beautiful, beautiful movie. I think 39 days of filming over 12 years. Amazing, amazing that the story actually made sense in that kind of way over that
Oh,
amount of time and not losing content.
yeah.
But I think the part that would have done it more for me,
Mhm.
just in that sense, is like they had the platform. Hi, I'm Cade,
And I'm Kit,
and we're real people.
doing real reviews. We are continuing our season 3 stories that stick. These are the pieces of cinema that have shaped our perspective as movie critics and reviewers. We have switched into a new theme.
Yes,
Hmm.
the next two episodes are going to be a coming of age
That's right.
story.
Mhm.
So with that, um,
I'm the first pick on
you
this.
are the first pick
Hmm.
on this one.
Oh,
What did you pick?
I picked the film Boyhood. And I could go off about it. But
Yeah,
it is it's a tremendous feat, this movie. 12
I-
years of production.
yeah,
It was made for 4 million. I think I heard Arquette, who's the lead female, she was saying that I think they lost like money, like making it because it was just on the journey of trying to make sure they could all get together to finish this piece of cinema. And so yeah, it's this is my pick for it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and why?
Why
Why is
choose it?
this your pick?
So, because the theme was coming of age, this film, honest to goodness, chose one actor, and then filmed for the same actor with the same cast around him for 12 years. And that's a real coming of age. That means that all throughout his actual growing up, he was filming pieces of this movie and creating it. And um, yeah, I love him as a choice. He has a sister that's in the film as well. And I also really love this as a coming of age because I felt that it kind of set in, I want to say like middle America, like middle class
Yep.
America. They didn't base any of the coming of age on highlights. They didn't do it on holidays or things that would be kind of mile markers. They really looked at kind of typical suburban life, birthdays, and a few kind of milestones as you are growing up. Things like your first job, things like that. And I thought that that was a clever take and an interesting, maybe more artistic and creative take on where we live the majority of our life, which is in the middle, not on the high highs, not on the low lows, certainly that they are there. And I also like this movie because it's filmed in the order of how a child would take in the information that they're receiving around them. So as he's kind of going through the plot of the story, that in the beginning, like the take is quite juvenile, and then it goes into his take being quite like questioning even the meaning of life, going into college and what it all means. So
Well,
yeah.
clearly she loves this movie and can go on and on about it. But maybe we should tell them as far as what the synopsis of the movie is.
Okay.
So with that, obviously the movie starts out and
Mhm.
he is a toddler.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's school age, right? He's like, because she's walking out of the school, right? And it's like,
Well, okay, so like 5 or 6.
yeah,
Start at
kindergarten.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
We're starting in kindergarten, which kind of ends with the movie as well. Makes sense.
Uh-huh.
12 years, 12 years of school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with that. So basically, it kind of depicts, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
kind of snippets of life over time. And in the beginning, it's very kind of simple kind of things. It's him laying on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
him watching TV,
Yep.
him fighting with his sister.
The first time he finds like a little bird skeleton outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, in the backyard, he's just like looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of BTS.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and second kind of film roll
Yep.
through this time of just like still shots, and we're holding and we're holding, and now we're moving. in the beginning, and it is quite cool how the movie, in that kind of term, gets more intelligent
Mhm.
as you move through the movie. So it like surprisingly does a really good job of cutting through where you actually, as a watcher, kind of miss some of the age difference. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a growth spurt, or oh, there's a hair color change, or where it's like actually like you're like, oh, this is another year of their life.
Mhm.
Because actually, through that kind of first step, I would say I didn't really notice it until kind of later on in that.
Mhm.
So basically, the mom is divorced.
Mhm.
She has 2 kids,
Mhm.
and she decides to go back to school
Mhm.
because she doesn't like the way she's providing for her family. So
Mhm.
she wants to better herself and better the family. So she moves back to Houston, Texas. Bum, ba-dum, which I also think is funny because I'm originally from Texas, and we're sitting here watching this movie, and I look over at her and I'm like, ma'am, did you not realize you picked a movie about
A boy from Texas?
a boy from Texas?
I needed one. I needed one in my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, which we realized as they were pledging to the Texas flag, in which I too know the words to, and she had that aha moment.
I wonder, is it something that sticks out to you when you were young, though? Like pledging?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely. We had over the intercom pledging to the American flag, the Texas flag over the intercom,
over the
like
Okay,
every
everyone.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Basically the way it was depicted in the movie, which I think they also did a very good job of like honest, real kind of Texas scenes.
Tell me.
So so they basically go, their grandma's there,
Mhm.
very cute. The dad comes back,
Yep.
takes them away for a weekend.
Mhm.
They go to a bowling alley, which is kind of fun. You know,
Mhm.
they're making memories, which also makes sense of why this would be kind of a memory that would stick out.
Right.
Not necessarily a holiday or any sort of thing, but kind of like this fun experience that they're super excited.
Mhm.
They get to see their dad. They go uh, to the to the bowling alley. They have like a bit of a fight because the little boy wants the bumpers up because
Mhm.
he keeps rolling gutter balls
Mhm.
down the alley. But his dad's like, no, you need to learn.
Yeah.
Kind of in that situation,
Mhm.
which is also kind of real because they're also dealing with kind of the emotions of not seeing him. Will they see him? He makes a promise that he'll see them every weekend,
Mhm.
which kind of throughout the movie, feel like he does.
Yeah. Yeah, he
So
comes back in a real way. I think it's every other weekend, and
yeah.
you kinda see that throughout the duration for sure. They continue the bowling, it's like a thing that they do, and then he tries different ways to make new memories, and even when, he moves at a little bit of a distance for his work, he makes sure that he drives up to make that happen, and so I get very cool to see this like,
Mhm.
male role model that, he's apologizing for his mistakes of being so young when they were born, and then he was back
Right.
and wanted to yeah, just redemption. It was kinda lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very likable character too.
And then he takes them back home,
Mhm.
and then the wife, obviously, his mom gets upset
Mhm.
because he hasn't fed the kids. They haven't done their homework.
Yeah.
And then they have this argument. The kids run upstairs. They're watching from upstairs, which I think I can remember
Like, looking through the banister of
like
what
watching my parents argue at a young age and being like, "Oh, look at that."
look at that emotion. Alright. I'm gonna go play Power Rangers over
Yeah, and
there.
then
Yeah.
it cuts to a new scene. Like definitely kind of how my memory of that is. It's just like, "Oh yeah, that happened."
Mhm.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, he goes to one of his mom's classes, where he
It's kinda introduced to a professor.
introduced to the professor,
Mhm.
and they basically are flirting, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird.
Mhm.
They're flirting," um, which is kind of funny in that age because it doesn't really spell it out.
Yeah.
It's just like, "Hey, this will happen," and then the next scene is they're getting married. They've
Mhm.
gone away on their honeymoon, and they're coming back,
Mhm.
to the kids.
Yeah, and it's a blended family, because he has 2 kids as well, and so they're sitting around a table. And I wanna talk about this scene a little bit because they're
Yeah.
sitting around this table, and it's so interesting because when I first saw this movie, it was at this very small independent theater, actually in Edmonton, Alberta, the Princess Theater, which is no longer open, and, I was in, yeah, maybe my mid-20s, and I remember watching this, scene where they're at the dinner table, and it's this blended family, he just came back, they're so excited to see him, and they're going around kinda talking about, like, who got their homework done, what are they working on, and these types of things. And the stepdad, I'll use that term, is reprimanding his son for not kind of completing things on time, and like he should have
Mhm.
done these things, and he's shaming him. And the scene so stood out to me because I thought, gosh, that could have been this really wonderful father son moment where he like takes him aside and is like, hey, like, this, even though things are different, like, we're gonna still follow through. This is what our family does. Like, we make this. He could have made that really, but he chose like shaming them at the table in front of the other kids, embarrassing him. And, we see him continue to do that, and it stood out to me as a audience member because when I had children and as I've gotten to places where I have to correct them, I'm very mindful of making sure, first of all, that it's not shaming, but also that, is there a way to parent this moment better? And I
No.
wonder if it was the influence from this movie because that I remember feeling so gross and seeing this, like, public shaming mo I was
Yeah.
so embarrassed for him, this young boy. I thought, "Oh my gosh, I would never do that to my kids," and so when I had them, I was like, "Well, make sure you never do that to your kids by accident." And so
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting takeaway from that scene, but also too, like, watching it, it's kind of like, "Oh, I don't like this character. Why do I not like this character?" On top of
Something
that,
off, yeah.
and
Mhm.
it kind of goes a bit further. He's hiding drinking.
Mhm.
He's, like, having, like, 1 or 2 drinks, and then the kids are like, "Does he usually drink that much?"
Mhm.
kind of aspect, and then it cuts to his mom on the ground in the garage as they're walking up from school, and she's yelling, like, "Stay away, get away,
Yep.
just go in the house," which obviously then it basically is showing that, like, there's a domestic dispute
Mhm.
happening between the parents, and the kids are still unsure of what's gonna happen, what's going on,
Yep.
with that, um, and also too, it's getting more and more kind of intelligent as they go along and as they're learning, kind of processing all of these things, which I think, um, to that point are starting to shape them in the way that they behave or kind of respond to these items. But the next thing, the mom comes back and she's like yelling for her 2 kids,
Yeah.
and basically they leave.
Yeah, there was a dinner table, like, scene in between there where he decides to drink at the table, which he'd been
Mhm.
hiding it the whole time,
Yeah.
drinks at the table. He's very rageful, and there's lots of scenes where he's like, "Back me up," and, like, "These are the boundaries, these are the barriers," and she's like, "There's just a lot." Like, it's hard for us to follow, and, you can tell the kids are quite close, and so at the table, he's having a rage moment, he throws a glass right at her, like, son, like, it misses him, breaks something else. They wait up in the room, they're having this conversation, and then it's the next day, and she comes to and she just has a friend with her, and she opens up the door, and she gets the 2 kids, and she's like, "We're gonna stay at, like, my friend's house," like, this gal, and they're there, and it's just it's interesting because it's like the scene what?
I also forgot this is, like, the sad part too, because in the midst of all of this, he just the stepdad randomly says that they're going for haircuts,
Right.
and at this point, he has, like, quite long hair, long, shaggy hair, and the stepdad's like, "You look like a girl," kind of
Taking you for a haircut.
yeah, taking you for a haircut, and they're literally shaving his head, like, he looks
Not a
bald
cut, not midway, it's a buzz
a
cut.
buzz cut, and he's so sad about it,
It's like
and he has, like, this moment of him not wanting to go to school because he's just embarrassed, and all even the siblings, they're all kind of making fun of him, like, "Oh, you're not sick.
mhm,
You're just faking because you don't wanna go to school."
yeah.
But then the mom comes in, and I think that interaction's very sweet where she's just like, I'm so sorry, buddy. I hear you. It's okay. Like, I'm sorry that I screwed up in that moment, which was also quite beautiful. But then also too, it was kind of like his first crush
Mm.
because he's at school and all the kids are kind of like shocked that
Mhm,
he had long hair the day before and now has come in with a buzz cut
mhm.
and making fun and he's down in the dumps and then this little girl passes him a note and it's like, I like your hair. It's cool.
Smiley face.
The parts that remember stick in my head, love.
The love note. You're like, "Oh, there was a love note. There was a love note," and I'm like,
Anyway, so this all happens with, second marriage.
yeah, I agree with you, though. I really love that scene because at first she's frustrated and she puts him in the car and she's like, "You're not psych like, you're going," and then she recognizes that, like, yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been awful, like, I would have been upset, and he's like, "He didn't even ask me, like, this is
Yeah.
my hair," and so he's understanding autonomy, he's understanding
Mhm.
yes and no, he's understanding these things, so I was like, that scene interesting, a haircut. Ho do we remember how many haircuts do you remember when you were
Right.
little?
Oh, I definitely remember bad haircut.
You
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have some bad ones?
Yes.
What was the worst one?
Worst haircut. I mean, I was very fortunate because
Mhm.
my mom did cut hair
Okay.
and she gave great haircuts, but I
Okay.
was always iffy when I, like, had to go to somebody else.
Okay.
And, yeah, some people didn't give good haircuts.
They
I was like, "Ah, God, I shoulda got my mom to cut my hair." So,
Well, that's sweet. Shout out to
yeah.
Cade's mom.
Yeah.
Doing it right. Okay, so then yes, first marriage ending, she's feeling like failure. She's trying to put herself together. She's like, "Oh my gosh, like what's happening?" Um, and then she finishes school, she gets a teaching job. You know,
Yeah.
she had left that abusive house, which was stunning, gorgeous home, large home. And
She's staying with a friend and her family in this kind of like secondary. She has a tiff with her daughter going to school because the daughter's like, I hate this. I'm going to a new school. I don't know anything and dirty clothes because I don't have any of my stuff.
Mhm.
Um, which to me, I grew up with sisters. So I was like, oh, that relationship between the mom and the daughter. Totally get it. Look at that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Not the same scene, obviously,
Mhm.
but definitely kind of that
The Tiffies.
the tiff between them
Mhm.
more where she's, like, a bit kinder and softer to the boy than kinda that
Mhm.
teenage girl kind of bite back kind of thing.
Yeah, it is interesting because the character in that moment says to the daughter, "I'm doing the best that I can," and she's devastated. She's just gone through so much, and what I relate to is I remember adults saying that
Yeah.
to like a young mind, and you're like, "What does that mean? The best you can?" Like you don't know
You don't
what
have any
we're even talking about.
don't even have anything to compare it to.
No, and
Yeah.
so you're like, "All right." Yeah, and then, but she makes some great friends, and she does get a
Yeah.
place, and then she's having a little dinner party and have
Yeah,
people.
so, like, school's going well, she apparently got the teaching job that she wanted, she's
Mhm,
really starting to thrive.
mhm,
Has this party at her house for
mhm,
all of her students. They're intermingling. The kids come in and out of that, which I think is also interesting. And like the boy is talking about his art in his bedroom to one of the his mom's students,
mhm,
which is also interesting. Kind of that interaction, I think is kind of cool.
mhm,
And then obviously there's a guy
mhm,
there that starts flirting with his mom.
mhm,
He kinda clocks it
mhm.
too, which is also interesting that they always do that from, like, his angle.
Yeah,
He kinda recognizes, "Oh, something's up here."
that man is talking to my mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
which is kinda cool, and then obviously the next scene, they're living together, they're together, it's assumed that they're married
Mhm,
kinda thing. The mom is, they're working on this, like, homestead, kind of a home fixer-upper.
mhm.
Um,
And it's like an issue, like the
yeah,
house they're like, "We got it on a foreclosure, and we're realizing why we got it for the price we did," and then that continues with, like, it
yeah.
is like an actual stressor, yeah. Mhm.
I also thought it was an interesting scene too, because there's one where the mom is talking to these 2, immigrant workers
Mhm.
working on the pipes in and out of the house. And she's just like, "Hey, you're really smart.
Mhm.
You should go to school." And he's like, "Oh, but I work." And she's like, "Well, there's night classes,
Community college.
community college scholarships. You can do it,"
Mhm.
which I thought was an interesting scene.
Mhm.
But then kind of pulls back to the boy kind of growing up. He
Mhm.
goes camping with some friends, like a first kind of boy
Camp
kind of
out.
camp out
Mhm.
kind of thing. And they go back and forth about kind of older teenage brothers kind of picking on the younger ones, but they have to come because the parents are like, "Well, you got to take care of them," kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. As well as then, there's scenes with their actual dad comes back.
Mhm.
He has like a great camping trip with his dad while his sister is, like, away at, like, some party, so it was, like, this male bonding. So there's a lot of, like, male bonding, male relationships kind of in this area
Can I add to
of
that?
growth.
Because I noticed so
Yeah.
from my perspective, it was so interesting to me. So some of the scenes that they show is like, um, he's I wanna say like 9, and he's looking at like a Sears
Oh,
lingerie
yeah.
catalog, and then when he is like growing up a little bit, it's like an older cousin or brother that's showing like Pornhub, like showing Cornhub. Is that what I have to say for online? Cornhub. Showing them anyways, that type of thing. It's always like an older kid that's kind of introducing this, which when you're looking at it from my perspective, I'm like, we are seeing the lingerie, you're like, "Oh, that's kinda cute." Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're exploring this, like, thought process, and then later I'm like, "What is up with the older kids trying to do these younger kids, like, a favor?" It's just kinda weird. And, that actually opened up conversations when I got married and, like, had
Mm,
boys, because
yeah.
I was like, "How early? What do I gotta look no Sears catalogs at our house." You know what I mean? So funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of growing up. He has, like, a bit of a back and forth with, um,
Mhm.
his mom's new partner,
Yeah.
like, trying to say, you know I do so much, provide for the family, and he's basically like, "Do you?"
Yeah. You're kind of a joke, you drink a lot too. It
Yeah.
seems like there's like a little parade of alcoholism.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So then the next scene, obviously, he's out of the picture,
Mhm.
and by this point, the boy is in high school
Yep.
and
Has his first heartbreak.
has his first love
Mhm.
and then heartbreak. He's a creative,
Mhm.
another creative movie.
Yes,
He's
he's
a photographer,
yep.
and he's basically, trying to decide, why does everything matter?
Mhm.
Why are we here?
Mhm.
Like these very intellectual conversations,
Mhm.
which he started talking to his girlfriend about. And then, as high school is ending,
Mhm.
kind of approaches, they have like this argument and fight with that.
Mhm.
But there's another kind of main scene where he's in kind of the editing bay
Mhm.
with his photography and
Dark room.
the dark room,
Mhm.
and the professor comes in and he's just like lays it on him. And it's a very real, I thought that was a very real conversation.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like cheesy movie wise.
Like
Like,
a coach to the locker room type shit?
yeah, this
No.
isn't Friday Night Lights with like a pep talk. This is like real
Yeah.
conversation. So it was very believable in that moment. And basically, he's just like, hey, like, y- you gotta work hard. You're talented, but like people that aren't talented are currently working harder than you.
Mhm.
So, you really have to shape up. Um, he assigns him kind of a project he doesn't want to do
Yeah.
in that kind of moment. So it's kind of a moment because you kind of see him kind of being lethargic and he's just like, why does it matter? I just want to create some art.
Very angsty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Artsy with his hair. He's painted his nails. He's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Which, I think that I also went through that kind of phase where it was just like, why?
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
I am an optimist beyond optimist. I'm like, "Because." We're alive. Like, just bury that one
Yeah,
that you
yep.
went down on
I don't
Instagram.
know. We'll have to ask mom. I'm sure she's gonna love this one.
Did so
Yeah, so then what happens next?
well, after he, kind of does the breakup with the girl, then the mom has moved out of that house that was all of these issues,
Yes.
moved into this little apartment, and he's like the sister's already older, she's already left. They show some scenes of him touring
Going yeah.
colleges with the girlfriend who's no longer in the picture. It's great. And then in the end, he's like, there, "Mom, why did you put this picture in my box?" And she's like, "Well, it's the first photo, like, you actually took," and it's, like, the skateboarding photo, and he's like, "Yeah, but, what's the point, isn't it? Like, I'll leave it here, like, I'm gonna."
Come
And,
back.
and
Yeah.
then she starts crying in
Yeah.
this little apartment.
She has that kind of, like, fit that she thought she's like, "What is the point now? Why does it matter?"
Yeah, she's
With that.
having an
But
existential
yeah.
crisis, and
So he, like, graduates, they have the party, like, the dad comes back, everyone kinda in his life, which is kind of this, like, chosen family,
yeah.
that is all there, like his new manager, those sorts of things,
Mhm.
and, he basically then next scene cuts to him in university. He meets this strange roommate that he's, like,
Kinda pumped about.
kinda pumped about, and they go on this trip, and it kind of ends in this kind of beautiful ending.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, kind of that there is more and there's always new relationships, new love, new
yeah,
perspectives, new art, and that's the point.
yeah.
And there's a few scenes that are throughout the film too that, like broken promises from the dad, forgetting that he had told his son once when he was,
The
like,
car, yeah.
4 that he was gonna have the car, and then he had gotten rid of it because 'cause he'd gotten married, had a baby, like,
For
these
sure.
types of things,
Yeah,
and there's, like, a few scenes in between, but again, just things that stood out to him. "Oh, that
yeah,
was the first time I had a promise broken,
yeah.
from my dad since
I
he's been back, like,
yeah,
first
I would
time."
say my takeaways, at least from this movie, thanks first for
Mhm.
choosing this movie,
Yeah.
but also too because it is from a boy's perspective that I could actually relate to kind of growing up in these kinda comments, which is also kinda cool, just in the sense of, like, you really do like, the way they filmed it and pieced it together, it is kind of those middle of the road moments where you just remember weird things that just kinda happen,
Mhm.
that kinda piece together and shape who you are. The part that, like beautiful, beautiful movie. I think 39 days of filming over 12 years. Amazing, amazing that the story actually made sense in that kinda way over that
Oh,
amount of time and not losing content.
yeah.
But I think the part that would have done it more for me,
Mhm.
just in that sense, is, like, they had the platform. They left a lot to our interpretation of what we got out of the movie,
Mhm.
rather than just telling us what they wanted us to get out of the movie. I
Mhm.
know this is a very art house kinda movie.
It'll be, and I won't do lots, guys. This is my one coming of age. I was like, this, and
Yeah, yeah.
it is Sundance for sure. It is art house, and like I said, I saw it in indie theater, but it's good.
It is good. I rated it an 8 for that.
Yeah,
You did good.
yeah. Oh, thank you. I also gave it an 8, and well, for a few reasons, but I do love it for coming of age. Like, I think it's so good for a theme, and it has a massively high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 97% or something, really,
Yeah,
really high, really, really great. It's also not something that you would typically find, and I think that it's interesting to
that's true.
if you're watching you're on here, you're watching our show, and we're talking to you about films that stuck out to us that you can go and find.
Mhm.
Boyhood is on streaming platforms. You can go find it and watch it. So I wanted to bring
Yeah,
something forward that I feel like people would be like, it's a little bit of a hidden gem. You've done that for one of the films already as
yeah.
well, and so this is my one for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
oddly enough, I love how, like, this movie I relate more to, obviously, because it's that, but, like, Sisterhood Traveling Pants, you related more to that movie,
Mhm. Yeah.
in that because it's a female perspective. We'll see how things go along.
See how that
Yeah,
goes? Oh, well, that's so great. Okay. Well, if you are watching this on a streaming platform, then, or a broadcaster,
go to the bathroom, grab some snacks
yeah, more than
and
jump
chips.
for sure. If you're If you're watching this on Apple or Spotify, please scroll to the bottom and give us 5 stars. Reviewers need reviews for us to get certified for on tomatoes. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Bye, guys.